Hello and welcome to this week's Smegcast, and it's a special one this week as we'll be discussing Dimension Jump 19, the official Red Dwarf fan club convention. It takes place every 2 years and has taken place recently at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Nottingham. I'll introduce you to our regular Smegcasters who are here today, and we have Chris.
Yeah.
Hi. James.
Hello.
Good morning.
Oh, where are you? Australia?
A dark room somewhere.
Okay, these are our Smegcast regulars who were at Dimension Jump, and the guys, unfortunately, who couldn't make it, but I'm sure they're in spirit, is Marc with a K. Marc.
Hello.
Hello. And Orie.
Hi.
And John.
Hello.
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 We can hear you loud and clear.
Good.
Evie wants to be here this week, but she couldn't make it, and she sends her apologies. And I hope on a future podcast she can talk about her experiences in Dimension Jump. Now, we also have some special guests on this podcast. First of all, I think a person who needs no introduction, from the fan club, Joe Sharples.
Hello.
Hello, Joe. Thank you very much for joining us.
No worries.
And before we go on, how are you feeling after the weekend? Have you recouped yet?
Almost. Yeah. I had about 10 hours sleep previous night, about 11 hours last night. So I think I'm pretty much back to normal. Although my throat's going a little bit, so you will have to bear with me. I'm afraid.
No problem. It's fine. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today.
You're welcome.
And we are waiting for one more person to join us when they can. Until then, we also have PJ.
Hello.
Hi, and you tagged along with me at Dimension Jump.
I did tag on, literally, yeah. It was my second Dimension Jump, but it was amazing. And it's lovely to be here, so thanks for inviting me.
Thanks.
Even though it's just my study, really, but, it's a nice study, so...
Well, thank you very much for being here, PJ. Okay, so Dimension Jump this year, we were blessed with a number of guests, and they were Chris Barry, Robert Llewellyn, Danny John-Jules, Hattie Hayridge, Mark Dexter, Lucy Pole, Duane Braun, Stephen Critchlow, and we also had, back for a second time, Dave Benson-Phillips for the karaoke and the disco. We didn't have any Craig Charles again this year, unfortunately, because he was otherwise engaged. But the event is no less without him. It's still a fantastic event, and I know we all had a good time. So we'll go on to Chris. How was Dimension Jump for you, and did you have any highlights of the weekend?
It was an amazing weekend as usual. It's my third one. Friday when we got there, it was just starting from the Friday with the karaoke, and all of a sudden Saturday came along. It was a costume competition and all that. But I think the highlight was going to the coffee lounge on the Sunday, and we had I think me and Chris Barry had a chat on on the table when we was talking about like sitcoms and all that, and how Red Dwarf was like improved from each series and all that. So that's probably one of the highlights, I think, for that one.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but I was just trying to narrow it down.
Yeah. Well, we'll be discussing the weekend in more detail shortly. James, how was the weekend for you, and what were your highlights?
Well, I definitely enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've been to one. I think the highlight for me was the coffee lounges as well. I did the Saturday, and it was very enjoyable, the whole thing, really.
And who did you get to speak to in that one?
That was Robert, Hattie, and the other two. I can't remember, sorry.
Lucy Pole,
Lucy and
Suwan.
Yeah.
That's it.
And, okay, PJ, how was your weekend overall, and what were your highlights?
Yeah, well, I enjoyed the whole thing. It was all amazing. One of my highlights was probably beating you by 1 point in the Red Dwarf Olympics, I have to say.
Oh. You
Just
had to bring that
personal
one up, didn't you?
yeah. But actually, I thought that Chris and Mark's question and answer session was really, really good.
Yeah, no, I agree there.
My thoughts. Dave Benson Phillips was brilliant. And winning the quiz as well. Our table winning the quiz was another highlight. So just so many highlights, really.
Yes, now you mentioned that. Myself, you, PJ, Mark Warner, and a few other people who aren't here. Yes, somehow won the quiz. Don't know how, because it was a devilishly difficult quiz. But we did. And Chris, you were on the other table, weren't you?
Yeah, I think we was. I don't know how many points we scored, because the reason why that was I was going into the come out the main hall, booked me coffee lounge. I looked through the window and I saw you and PJ. Thought, look, I think it looked like they've won the quiz, but we don't know how many points until we found out it was about 41 or 42. You scored about 45, I think.
We scored 45 out of 55.
Yeah, so it was that third or second place, I think it was.
Yeah.
But some of the questions was difficult for me to answer.
Yeah, it was.
But on our team, Richard was the cleverest one out of all.
Yeah, I remember the last.
He was like last time.
Yeah, the last convention, Richard did pretty much knew all the answers.
He didn't. Yeah, he just put it right down straight away. No messing around.
But I think they took the difficulty up to another level this time around. Yeah. Joe, apart from probably running around like a headless chicken all weekend, what were the highlights of the weekend for you?
My favourite bit is actually the registration desk, because I like seeing everyone when they arrive. So I like to see people coming back, to meet new people. That's kind of my favourite bit, and so I always try and schedule myself for that, even though for most of the weekend I can't really schedule myself for much because I need to be here, there and everywhere.
Yeah.
I always make the effort to try and be there for that. And also I just managed to catch the very end of the Ace on the Sunday. So I was able to see the chasers kicking Sir Patrick's ass, which is always good to see. That
was quite an experience, I have to say. I was looking forward to the Ace, and they did extremely well, that team, didn't they?
They did very well, yes, they did. Yeah,
I mean, I found the quick fire questions were quite sort of general good Red Dwarf questions. I think a good variety of Red Dwarf fans should get, but the general knowledge ones were quite difficult.
Yeah, I think that they wanted to put a mix in. So my other half, Ian, was who hosted the Ace, was the one who also set the questions as well, and he wanted to get kind of a good mixture in there of some easy ones, so sort of for the cash builder and to get the points up there, and then obviously just not to make it quite too easy, not just for the chasers but also for Seb as well, to make sure that he wasn't just sailing through.
No, it certainly wasn't an easy job for him either, I have to say.
No.
What I could say. Good, yeah, exactly. And do we know yet, is the Ace making a return next time, or is that not even decided yet?
The Ace will not be making a return, I'm sad to say. It was possibly a little over... my brain's gone dead. We struggled a bit with the tech for it, that's all. Right. So we want something a little bit simpler. We have already decided what we're doing. Okay. I can't tell you, I'm afraid.
Obviously.
Nope.
No.
But yeah, it's going to be a little bit simpler on the tech, just to take the strain off poor Danny on the AV desk, who's controlling it all.
I've got to say, he did great with what he had to work with. It didn't look like it was easy at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, he set it all up himself, but I that was kind of the first I was really seeing of it, so I didn't know how it worked and whatnot. But yeah, he did it. He gave it his best shot, but perhaps a little bit too over ambitious for us. But I think the actual quiz itself, everyone seemed to enjoy and everyone seemed to have fun, even though we had a few technical hitches there. But it all seemed to go well, and we had some happy winners.
Well, I thought it was absolutely a great idea. And as I said, the actual content of the quiz was brilliant. Well devised, and it was really enjoyable to watch. And I'm sure it was very enjoyable for all the contestants and everybody involved with it. So it was great.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, and I'd say one of the highlights for me, we're probably going back to what you said, Joe, about meeting people. I mean, this is my 5th convention now, and I've always get excited about meeting the cast or meeting any sort of new guest casts who've never been before. But it's also got a point now where each convention I'm going to, I'm meeting new people and then sort of getting to know them outside the convention as well. And then when everyone goes back, everyone's sort of meeting each other again, and it becomes almost like a little reunion of a Red Dwarf fan community. And that part of it is also enhancing the experience of the weekend, and that makes it a highlight just as much as everything else that happens. Yeah. But I'd say another highlight for me, well, one probably would be winning the quiz. That was definitely a good one. Dancing to Tongue Tied at the disco. That was something that's never happened before. I'm sure it might have happened at previous discos, but I've never experienced it myself. So
Did they actually play Tongue Tied then, Tim?
Sorry?
Did they actually play Tongue Tied? Dave did?
Yeah.
Yes, he asked us for it ahead of the event.
Yeah, because I think it might have been a bit later on, because I was knackered. I went straight to bed. As hard as it was.
Well, it was a very long day, to be fair.
Yeah, it was. Tell me about it.
Yeah. And I think my other highlight of the weekend was meeting Marc Dexter. Absolutely lovely guy. Really, really, really nice, down-to-earth guy.
Marc has had a lot of love post DJ. He's kind of overwhelmed by it, to be honest. He sent me an email about it yesterday, because that was his first convention of any kind. He's never done anything like that before, and he really genuinely enjoyed meeting everyone. How he was in front of everyone is what he's like, behind the scenes as well. He's just a really, really genuine guy, really lovely, and just he deserves all of the lovely things that are definitely coming his way.
Well, I totally agree there, and I hope we get to meet him again in the future.
Yeah, so do I. Hope he doesn't forget us when he's soaring off to all these massive conventions.
Yeah. So that was the highlights of the weekend. So we'll now just go through the weekend, in general, as a general discussion. I'm just going to throw it out there to everybody, and you can just sort of interject as we go along. So yes, of course, the Friday all kicked off with what's known as the opening ceremony, and it was a good opening this year, with various members of the fan club doing a nice little introduction. I think there was some sort of, from what I could gather, a polymorph storyline going on this year.
Yeah, so it was all, we had kind of a theme sort of overarching the weekend. So I don't know if any of you guys did the QR code challenge this time. So we have QR codes on the passes, in the booklet, and in various places around the hotel. It was all kind of connected. So that was part of that was organised by Danny Stevenson and Alex Newsom were the sort of the main guys that were doing that.
Yeah.
The opening ceremony was basically saying that there's polymorph loose in the hotel. So the Space Corps put us on quarantine. So it was just like, you have to stay there for the weekend. And the QR code was part of that, sort of finding the message and sending a message off to send help from the for the polymorph. There was actually also, I don't know how many of you caught it, but there was a post-credit scene after the ace. We have like an end titles video. We don't do a closing ceremony as such.
Yep.
But we had a little post-credit scene with the guy who was in that. I don't know if any of you guys used to watch. I know Evie did, but her bit on the Big Brother's bit on the side, which my other half Ian used to work on, but that was Henry, who also works on that. Henry also currently the voice of in Robot Wars. So in Robot Wars when they announced the contestants.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's Henry. So
We've just
minor celebrity there. For you.
We've just answered my next question: who actually was in the video? Because I didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Henry Imbert, he's called. But yeah, if you happen to watch Robot Wars when they're announcing the contestants and the robots, that's Henry that does that. So yeah, and it was kind of like a nice sort of overarching theme to the weekend, and just we try and add to it each year because obviously we had all the posters and stuff, sort of in world posters, just trying to make it kind of as immersive as we can, and yeah, we just add little bits each year, and like the guys on the team who put it together, like Mick and Danny especially, who do a lot of the artwork and the media stuff, are amazing. They are just great. So huge thank you to them for putting all of that together, and obviously Alex for the opening, which is brilliant.
Well, I mean, I agree. All those things put together is what really enhances the experience of the weekend, because there's so much going on that you don't even notice. You have to really sort of look for everything. One of the things I didn't do was look at the posters from this year, because I think there were some from last time, but there were some new ones too, weren't there?
There were some new ones.
Yeah, and I have seen the photos of them, but I didn't get round to see them at the time, but they're absolutely brilliant. And I believe we've just been joined by Rob Coker.
I was about to mention that, yeah.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Nice of you to join us. We're just currently discussing the weekend that was Dimension Jump, so we'll go to you quickly now and just find out what were your highlights of the weekend? How did the weekend go for you in general?
Oh, I loved it. It was amazing. My highlight was the costume contest. I love seeing everyone dressed up. It's brilliant, and I enjoyed messing about when I went out and that. That's probably the best part about it for me.
And were you in the costume competition yourself?
Yeah, I was the first one out.
Unfortunately. I confess I missed the beginning because I was still getting autographs at the time.
Oh well, I was a Series 2 lister on the pull from the Crichton episode. And I came out with it with the iron hole cut in the back of my trousers and kind of black hairspray, and did what he did in that scene. It took a few drinks before I pluck up the courage to go out and do it, though, But it was a good laugh. It was a good laugh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I spotted the photos of that, Rob, because I wasn't in the room at the time. But I saw the photos of you spraying the hole. I just thought it's genius. Well done.
Oh well, I've got to top it next time. You always got to do something funny. I mean, I like just the in the room laugh when you do it. That's all part of the experience for me.
Well, I have to say, Rob, I wish I'd seen that. I remember the previous year you were a lister, but you ate the cigarette on the way out. If I remember right.
Yeah, I did that bit from the Hollow ship, didn't I? I remember that now.
Out of the guys who went, did anyone try the QR codes at all?
I think I didn't, because I had a chance to do it, and there was quite a lot of quite a lot of scanning as well to try and get the same. Because apparently, I think there was a lot of duplicate letters or something like that. But no, I didn't have a chance to do it, unfortunately.
Anybody else? Rob, James?
I had to go on the first night. I scanned quite a few and filled the book out, and then I lost my book.
Oh.
So about the end of it for me was the second day.
I just let lots of people scan mine, so...
Yeah, I'd just say.
It seemed to be a good icebreaker as well, because a lot of people were coming up to us all weekend asking to scan our passes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to get people to mingle as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons behind it, really. It was just trying to get people to kind of mix out of their sort of normal circles a little bit more. The last time we did it, Last time we did it, we only did a smaller amount, and that was completely my fault, because when Danny suggested it originally, he said, I think, that he wanted to do about 50 different things to scan. And I kind of was like, no, nobody's going to do that. No. I was like, we need to reduce it. So we halved it. And then people had finished it by the Friday. So I just went, you know what? I'm going to stay out of it next time. You guys are completely right. It's none of my business.
Joe, was there any sort of prize or anything for the person who cracked it, or was it just a sort of reveal at the end? I can't remember what happened.
There was a special poster that we got signed by all the guests, and that got awarded on the Sunday.
Right. Okay, so moving on to the pub quiz. Apart from my team, the winning team, how did everybody else get on in the quiz? Rob?
My table got 43.
Oh, you were the table with 43. How did you find the quiz itself?
Yeah. It was quite difficult. It was some of the questions were quite difficult. I didn't do too well on the music ones. Quoting the shows was easy there. I thought, get the line of the show. That was easy enough.
Yeah, the music one was an interesting round because it I think it's one of those ones where you need to watch it recently to remember where the piece of music came in. Basically, for the benefit of the listeners, it was a number of pieces of classical music, and we had to write down which episodes they appeared in. And they were. I think I was trying to put my finger on sort of which one it was for each one, and we managed to get it right. But there was an observation question which got everyone. The whole observation round was based on the opening of Polymorph, with a little polymorph changing into many different objects. And there was a number of questions, but the question that got everyone, of course, was how many different objects did the polymorph turn into?
Yes.
And if you watch the clip, of course, you know that's virtually impossible to without it on slow motion.
Is it 6?
Sorry?
Is it 6?
No,
it's
more than that.
6. More than 6.
36, wasn't it?
6 is always my first guess.
I believe the answer was 35.
Yeah,
35,
35.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Just a bit of a miscalculation.
I knew it was 30 something, but I just couldn't know. Just couldn't put my finger on which one it actually was.
I think it's a bit more than 6, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just a bit more.
Slightly. You're not far off.
And we were treated to, of course, our first guests during the pub quiz because they were hosted by Marc, Dexter, and Lucy Pole, who did a fab job. I know in previous years we've had the likes of Tony Hawks and Matt McDonald.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, so Stephen, we're going to go on to you quickly. So, Stephen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. And you sat next to me on the Friday night in the pub quiz.
I did indeed.
Yes, I think a lot of the fact that we won was due to you because you knew a lot of the answers. But to be fair, you did win Goitless the year before, so.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. So Stephen, I mean, how was the weekend for you as a whole, and what were your highlights?
If I had to sum it up in one word, I'd say rewarding. And the highlights were definitely it's hard to pick out, just some, to be honest. It was overall just fun, and it was just great getting to hang out with people like yourself and kind of with your own kind, really.
Yeah. I mean, any bits of the weekend that really stands out for you that you remember?
Marc, Dexter in general was just fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember several chats and photos with him. He was great. Particularly the Q&A with him and Chris Barry.
Yes, which has been mentioned. I think it was great to get the two Rimmers together finally on stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
What hasn't been mentioned yet?
Ooh, I think quite a lot's been mentioned so far, so we'll carry on anyway. So after with the pub quiz, we had karaoke till very late. It went to about 1 in the morning.
I think.
Yeah, about 1 in the morning. And returning from last time, we had Dave Benson Phillips comparing the karaoke. Now, Joe, was he back by popular demand, or did he want to come back, or was it a bit of both?
It was both. I mean, to be honest with you, as soon as we knew what the date was that we were going to go back, we got straight in touch with him and booked him. He was one of the first people that we booked.
Wow.
Even ahead of the cast, because he was like, I mean, he's brilliant. He was incredibly popular. The feedback we got on him was great. And I think you can just tell, like, we always do the karaoke on the Friday night, but in years past, it is often kind of like the kind of hardcore people who want to get up and actually have a sing who tend to stay in the room, and then everyone else kind of filters away. But just, I don't know what it is about Dave, but he just has this really encouraging way about him. He just makes it so much fun, even just to watch. Like, he doesn't leave people hanging. So, you know, if they kind of go off course a little bit, he jumps up there and he'll sing with them to get them back on again. And it's just, he has such a presence. It's amazing. And it's like the room was full pretty much on Friday. Up until the end of the karaoke, it was great. It was a really great atmosphere, and you know, a lot of that is down to Dave and what he does. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to get him back. I kind of think now he's part of the Dimension Jump family. I don't think he's ever going to get rid of us anymore.
No, I think that's it now. I think he's in for good. I mean, as you said, he keeps the room. I mean, I've been to previous Dimension Jumps where, the karaoke, this bit where everyone just goes off to the bar, and the ones who want to sing get up, and that's it. I've never seen the room so full as it is, and just the atmosphere. You dare not leave the room when Dave's on the stage, just in case you miss something, and you probably will. Yeah. So I think it's, if we're talking about highlights, Dave Benson Phillip is just a highlight in himself.
He is, absolutely.
He definitely is.
So did anybody here get up and do karaoke apart from myself?
No, I sat it out this time.
No. Was it because you needed more to drink?
No, it's because of the one I did last time.
What was that?
It's because of the one I did last time.
Oh, because you did Delilah.
Yeah. I got a little bored of seeing it on the newsfeed on Facebook after a bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so for the purpose of people listening to this, and who probably wasn't at the convention in 2015, Rob got up and did Delilah, but in the style of Kachansky, I believe.
Yeah.
So instead of it being Delilah, it was just Kachansky.
Yeah. We replaced a few lines and then sort of stammered through the rest. We did well.
And you've just seen it on Facebook ever since, and you don't want to see it ever again. Is that right?
It's just hearing myself. I've had enough of that now.
Yeah, no one likes that. Okay, so the next day, it all started bright and early at 9 in the morning. I noticed there was a slight change in order of proceedings this year. We had the photo sessions first thing, which I thought was a very smart idea.
Yeah, that was really just from a logistics point of view.
Yeah.
To so we could get the photos printing off ready for the afternoon for you guys.
Yeah, and it certainly worked. I'll be honest with you. If I could start every day having a photo with some cast members of Red Dwarf, I'd die a happy man. So I went in there. I hadn't even finished drinking my coffee yet. But,
I think most of us just finished brushing our teeth.
You still smell the toothpaste, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we had the first Q&As on the Saturday morning. We had Robert Llewellyn, who I think was on absolute fine form. I don't know about anybody else.
You'll have to tell me because I didn't see any of the Q&As, so I'm counting on you guys to fill me in on what happened because I missed so much of it.
Yep. Someone else can do some talking now. Guys, what did you make of the Q&As? Somebody speak.
I was just trying to remember. I remember the first thing you started with was a sort of disclaimer saying there's no announcement about a new series. He had to say that straight away.
Yeah.
I think based on last time, people were hoping that there might be some sort of announcement about something, since we were treated to Doug Naylor announcing 2 series.
Without putting words into Robert Llewellyn's mouth, what I found interesting was he said, if I remember right, he did mention 13 and 14. He said there's talks about that, but that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's which to me inferred, this is just a guess, but if there was going to be a new series announcement, I'm guessing maybe the idea or the plan for them is to do back-to-back again, or I don't know. That's what I mean, I'm merely speculating, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's all merely speculation.
Like
I'll be honest, there wasn't much mentioned about future series or even Series 12 throughout the weekend. I think it was kind of, just concentrating on the now rather than what's to come.
Yeah.
Which I found surprising considering how many spoilers the cast can give.
Yeah. So luckily we didn't really get any, so that's good. But I said, I think Robert was on fine form. We had got a few Crichton impressions out of him as well, which was good. And he talked about his up-and-coming autobiography.
Yeah, what is that? I mean, I haven't heard much about it. Is that basically a new autobiography he's releasing?
It was discussed on one of our previous podcasts that he's. I think it's called The Old Bloke or something like that.
Some Old Bloke, I think.
Some Old Bloke. That's it. Yeah.
Some Old Bloke.
And so it's just an autobiography about his career, I believe. But not just focusing on Red Dwarf, but focusing on everything.
Yeah, it's not meant to be like he's the stuff that he's done before, like the Man in the Mask about Crichton and stuff.
Yep.
So he was talking about the Gadget Show as always. He was on Friday's episode, which I've watched.
Was it good?
He was talking. Yeah, it was good. I think he was explaining what happened anyway, but I've watched it myself. And he was talking about his old video camera that wasn't working, or his batteries wasn't working, or something like that on the video camera.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a clue if it was still working now, but he lost it. He was joking, and he was just saying he actually lost the charger, and all of a sudden he threw the camera in the mixer sort of thing. He was talking about his fully charged YouTube channel, and the documentary is doing. It's going to be released back May the 17th, maybe 18th or something like that. Which he mentioned at the Q&A as well. So
yep.
There was some mention of new chapters for The Man in the Rubber Mask, wasn't there? Or I think he said there was some plan to maybe do some new chapters to it. Or
yeah.
That's interesting. That I like.
Okay, after Robert Llewellyn, we had Lucy Paul and Sir Braun doing a Q&A. What did everyone make of that one?
I'm sure I remember finding out that she'd done voices in a few video games that I played as well, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was from the Q&A or from the copy lines later on, but she did quite a few voices in the last Grand Theft Auto game. Which we found out, and a character in Overwatch. I mean, I've not played that yet, but she's done, work in the gaming world as well.
Yeah.
There's television.
James.
It was very enjoyable watching them both on stage.
Yeah.
Just finding out how they got into the careers that they're in now and what they've done in the past. Sue-Ann, the fact that she was in Stargate SG-1, played Hathor, to me, it was good to see people that had done stuff in the past in the US coming back to the UK doing stuff over here, which
Right. So, James and Rob, you said you're both in the first coffee lounge session. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was that?
It was pretty good. Robert was very, very talkative, just chatting about everything, as was Hattie and Lucy and Susanna.
The one. Yeah. Rob?
I'm drawing a blank now. I was sat in there as well.
Yeah.
They all had very different styles of approaching the table. Rob just sat down and just started talking, whereas Suanne, she just kind of sat down and went round the table just asking questions for the people who were there. Lucy just kind of talked about her life and what she'd been up to and what she'd been doing. And Hattie, as usual, kind of just was a very funny person, very dry humour, and it was great to talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I'm sure Robert was on about when we sat down with him. He was on about some renewables project he's working on at the moment, but I can't remember much of what he said.
Right.
But he's doing something or a show or something about renewables.
Okay,
yeah, I think he'd been to the US.
Sorry, carry on.
Sorry, I think he'd been to the US filming a TV series, and he'd been up in the desert in, I think it was Arizona. He was talking about thousands of parabolic mirrors all feeding a central station for power.
Yeah, heating water, wasn't it? And creating
that
power.
was it, yeah.
That was it, yeah.
Okay, so after lunch we had the first autograph session, and by this point Chris Barry had turned up. And it was Chris Barry, Robert Llewellyn, Lucy Pole, Swan Braun, and Marc Dexter. While that was going on, we had the Red Dwarf Olympics, which happens every year.
And I've missed 2
I'm
years
interested
running
to hear what you guys think, because it's Joey that puts all the hard work into the Red Dwarf Olympics, and it's like she made a lot of changes to it last year, and it seems to become really popular. So I'd like to know what you guys think of it.
Well, the year before, I sadly missed it, so I was determined to do it this year. I love the Olympics. It's so much fun. We have a number of different games like Junior Angler. There's one where you have to knock over the beer cans with beanbags. There's the one where you have to throw. Well, it's throwing a dart over the shoulder into the ball, but it's a Velcro ball into a Velcro target. Also got the pin the pointy stick on the weather girl. got Planet Potters, which was bouncing little ping pong balls into paper cups.
Sounds like ping pong.
Yeah, that was what inspired us.
It was made
could have
more
put beer in it. Would have made it more fun.
I believe Alex explained to me that it was made more difficult by the surface of the table, but taking the bounce out of the balls, making it harder to actually get the balls into the cups, which it was. And we also had tabletop golf, mini golf, which was a lot of fun. But you had to be very careful, because if you hit the ball too hard, it ended off the table in someone's pint of beer. And then I think the last one that we did was holding the bullets above a target and then trying to drop them, as in the bullets from the outtakes that just wouldn't stay in the shot.
Right.
But yeah, it was extremely inventive. All game was extremely fun and quite difficult too. It was actually difficult to get any decent points in each one, so it's extremely competitive. And as I say, myself and PJ were sort of very competitive against each other. Isn't that right?
Yes, we were. I'm not saying I'm competitive, but it was great to beat you by 1 point.
Yeah. How did the other guys find the Olympics? How did you get on with it?
Well, I didn't have a chance to do it, so.
So you missed it this year.
Yeah,
same.
Which is
James. Right. Rob, did you do it?
Yeah, Yeah, I missed it as well. I was talking to a few people and drinking at the bar.
Well, that's the best time to do it, isn't it?
It's just so easy to lose track of time when you're mingling with the dwarfers.
One thing about Dimension Jump is true, that you're never bored. There's always something to do. There's always something going on, even when there's things like autograph queues and everything. There's always something to do. Stephen, did you take part in it at all?
I unfortunately didn't get a chance to, but 'cause I missed out the year before. I'm aiming next year, if it's on again, to get there. But I wanted to ask, how many dimension jumps has the Red Dwarf Olympics been going for now? Is this the first two, or has it been going before then?
No, it's something that we inherited. It's been going longer than I've been going to DJ. So my first dimension jump was 2005, and it was already something that they did then. I couldn't tell you exactly how long it's been going for, but it's been going quite a while. It's just one of those things. It's just autographs take a while, and it's just something for the people who don't want to drink and chat in the bar. They can come and distract themselves with some games and stuff. It's just a bit of a time wasting thing, but we've kind of updated it a couple of years ago, just with a few new games, and sort of made it a bit more polished and shiny. And as I say, it's all Joey's work. So I'm glad it's fun, and people really seem to like it, and people were really disappointed that there wasn't a Red Dwarf Olympics Part 2 on the Sunday as well. A lot of people asked me, and they were like, "Oh yeah, is it Olympics Part 2 tomorrow?" And I was like, "No, I'm sorry."
No, that's it. I'm afraid. Yeah,
that's it. It's done. So maybe next year we'll extend the time slot a little bit, since it's been so popular.
And I was thinking, obviously, you've got the opening ceremony of Dimension Jump on the Friday. Maybe we should have some sort of opening ceremony for the Olympics as well. Get everyone to come in with their flags and.
That would be quite amusing.
Well, I'd say the Olympics are absolutely brilliant. The games are very inventive, and long may it live, as far as I'm concerned.
Hurrah.
So moving on to the evening, we have this. Now this has been going since I started going. I mean, my first convention was 1998, and they had it then, the costume competition. Every year, I'm absolutely bowled over by the inventiveness of the costumes and what people come up with, and the hard work that goes into the costumes that they make. So, what does everyone make of the costume competition? And apart from Rob, who else took part, if anyone? No, I don't think anyone else took part apart from Rob.
No, I didn't take part. I saw them at the top of the stairs as they were going down to the room.
Okay, so did anyone have any favourites?
My favourite was I think everyone would know, I think it was the Ace Rimmer and... who's that?
Melly?
Who's that young woman?
Melly.
That's it. I think everyone was voting for that one, but it was a hard decision because there was quite a few entrances this year, but the last one there wasn't as many as this year's, so it was quite hard for the judges to decide.
Yeah,
I loved the listener from Sirens. That was brilliant with the fingernails on the suit and the massive afro and the dress. Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah, that was my favourite.
I love that one.
I remember Lister with the space mumps as well. That was quite impressive.
I had a chat to him. I was asking him how he made it, and it's like a papier-mâché job that he did, and then just put some latex over it. It's quite clever how he did it.
I think
it only took him a week to put together.
I think Hattie commented that she was worried it might be full of custard or something and it was going to explode on her.
I did ask him if it was going to explode, yeah.
Yeah. Luckily that wasn't the case.
One to do.
Yeah, well, that's the thought for the next one.
Well, yeah, when you said paper mache, you reminded me of I forget. There was a lady dressed as Starbug, and she had like was it Ladybug? Was that
Ladybug? Yeah.
Yeah, and she had like a helmet on, which looked. Well, it's actually paper mache, I think, wasn't it? But it looked like quite solid and thick.
Yeah.
And, yeah, really good work on it. She couldn't see, I remember, she had to be guided up the stairs by Hattie. But really good work, I thought.
There was a group,
Yeah, a lot of work.
group doing lemons.
Yeah, that was about
Yeah.
I really like
Yeah,
that.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
That appeared on the chap that played Jesus in the episode.
James Baxter.
There was a tweet appeared on his wall with that picture on.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so Jesus himself approves.
Definitely.
Yeah. I've got to say, I think one of my favourites was Sim Crawford.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she had the hair right as well.
Yeah. It was Amy Telford, wasn't it?
Amy Telford, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
And Mark Dexter actually said, didn't he, in his questions and answers, that he felt a genuine nostalgia when he saw her from his episode, because it looked so good.
That's right. And the overall winner was it Starbug? Or am I remembering that wrong?
I think it was.
Yes,
it was. Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't see. We was all trying to sort of creep round the door.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. So it was, her name is Emma. It was her first time at Dimension Jump. I do know her from other cons.
Right.
And I stole her away from them and brought her to Dimension Jump. But yeah, so Emma came first in that. I think Ace and Melly won the best group.
Yep,
that's it.
Which was lovely. And I did say, I just said on Facebook earlier as well, we also brought in a best child category this time, which nobody was able to win. So if anyone has kids that want to take part, there is a best child category now going forward. So enter.
It's all open for the next one.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I actually I met the sorry, Emma, wasn't it, who played Starbug outside, but she didn't have the helmet on, so I wasn't sure what she was at first, and then I was like, then I noticed the helmet, I was like, oh, Starbug, of course. So that was the costume competition, and then after that we had the auction. Well, auction part 1. And there was a number of items up for grabs. Some bargains by the looks of things as well. Some of the items went for they went for quite a bit of money, but a lot less than what I was expecting on the first night. There was one item in particular I had my eye on, which was the hardback version of the American Book Club book of Red Dwarf.
With the cat head on it.
Yes, it's known for the cat head. Quite distinctive, and I was informed that the paperbacks are hard to come by, but hardbacks even more. Did anybody have their eye on any items at all? Then realise that they didn't look down their sofa hard enough to find their money?
Where do I start? No, there were a lot of items where you saw them and you thought, I must have them now, and it of course was not going to happen. But I remember there was a Series 7 poster. With signed by the cast, and there were quite a few items which were very, very rare. In that there was some signed by Rob Grant. Which is a big rarity. Yeah.
I was going to mention this. There's a number of items, including raffle prizes as well, that was signed by Rob Grant.
Yeah. Yes. That would be because of me. So I have basically been emailing Rob for about a year. Obviously, getting him to DJ is probably something that's never ever going to happen. Just because that's not really kind of his life anymore.
Yep.
But I've kept sort of asking him if there was any possibility that I could meet up and get him to sign a few things. And then it all kind of happened really last minute, about a week before DJ. He got back to me and he sort of said, oh yes, I can meet you. So I toodled along into London with a suitcase full of items for him to sign, and met him in a Starbucks and took over a few tables. So So yeah, that was fun. I actually, so the first time in a really long time, I actually got a little bit nervous meeting a Red Dwarf person, because I've met the other guys so many times now. Yeah. It's just, and I've got to kind of be in charge of them, so I can't be nervous, at DJ, because I have to, tell them to, hurry up or move here or go there. But with Rob, I've never met him before, so I got to the car park before I met him, and I had to message Ian, because I was getting a bit like, oh God, I'm suddenly really nervous.
Yeah.
But he was absolutely lovely. He was really nice. We talked about Red Dwarf a little bit. I didn't want to talk about it too much, because I've seen obviously documentaries and stuff where he sort of said, it's like talking about your ex-girlfriend kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to talk about it too much, but I talked to him about DJ, and he's kind of, I think, really happy that it's something that still people enjoy going to. When I sort of said it was the 19th one, he was saying, God, he still remembers the first one, and it's amazing that it's still going, and great that everyone still loves it and likes being a part of the community.
Yeah.
And he was really happy to hear that it was still happening. So yeah, it was one of those things, like, I didn't think it was ever going to happen, and then all of a sudden I got this email, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to go and meet Rob Grant. So you guys reaped the rewards of that by having signed items by Rob, which aren't as easy to get hold of these days.
No. Well,
yeah, thanks for that. I ended up with the Body Snatchers DVD.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Do you mind telling us? Sorry, Colin, carry on.
Sorry, that was my fault. I interrupted, but I was just going to say they're now out of print. There's no more of those.
I know.
Yes. What was the story behind that again, Joe?
It was the warehouse where they were being held. I think they had a fire or something. So all of the copies that they had in this warehouse were destroyed, and they just decided not to make any more, because they hadn't been hugely popular, because they are obviously quite niche. I mean, pretty much everyone in that room would want one, but in sort of general, not so much.
Yeah.
So they kind of almost straight away became quite a rare item, because it was only if you had one, or if they happened to still be in the shops, those were the only ones that were remaining. So they are very rare items. So keep that precious thing safe there, Rob.
Yeah, you have a real valuable item there, my friend. Do you mind telling us how much you purchased it for in the end?
£215.
What?
It was quite a battle as well, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah.
Christ.
I know. I was going up against people, friends as well.
How did that feel?
To be honest, I blanked it out. I wanted it.
You had your heart set on that, and that was the end of it.
But I missed out on a lot of stuff at the previous DJ, and I've been after the Body Snatcher for a long time. And when I saw it signed, I just had to have it.
Gotta have it. Yeah.
It was just as simple as that.
Mine.
I think the comment was made that the more people bid, the more beer that was consumed. Was that the case for you?
Definitely. It was really difficult getting up the following morning. But I managed to somehow.
Yeah, well, that's the key to say, because it is a rare item. I mean, as Joe has said, it's a niche item, because it's very much for the completists. It has the remasters on it. It has was it the missing? Was it Body Snatcher episode and all that? And then it has I think the original.
It's got the original shoot of the first episode as well.
The original assembly.
Which is quite different.
Yep.
There's a lot of. I did watch it, because there's a lot of gags in that they used in later episodes as well.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
I think I was actually, because ages ago I remember trying to find Body Snatchers collection on eBay, and luckily I had like the cheapest one going. I got it for 40 quid. I think it was that 3 disc or 4 disc set, because some of them was going for like £100, 110 quid.
Yep.
So I was like, nah, sub that. And then I found one on the auction. Luckily, I just got it in there in a few seconds, and I just got it. So That was still good.
Yeah, so all you got to do now is just get it signed by Rob Grant, eh? Good luck to you.
Yeah, that'll be very hard to try and get hold of him.
Yeah. Okay, so that was that was Now, for the purpose of everyone who can't see this, John is currently holding up his vinyl copy of Tongue Tied. John, tell us about this.
Yeah, I mean, I got this from eBay. It was only £6. I mean, you'd expect with a masterpiece like this for it to be at least a few £100. I just need Danny to sign it, I think, and then it would be a few hundred, if not a few £1,000, hopefully.
So you've got there. That's the 12-inch version.
Interrupting, but you should get Colin Howard to sign that as well.
Yeah,
he did the artwork on it.
Yeah, and which call his face that does all the Red Dwarf music as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, actually, Colin Howard's been mentioned. Colin did some artwork for the weekend. Yeah,
he did a series 11 print, especially for the weekend. Obviously, he'll sell it afterwards as well. But yeah, it was a sort of a DJ exclusive. To start with. But yeah, he's a very, very talented man.
Yeah.
And a very lovely man. I don't know how many of you guys met him in the merch room, but he's a very good guy. Yes,
myself and PJ got to have quite a long chat with him. Is that right, PJ?
Yes, we spoke mainly about cats in the end because he's a fellow cat lover as well. But yeah, lovely, lovely guy. And I'm going to try and get him to do a portrait of my cat. That's my goal.
And I look forward to seeing that at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and actually, while I was talking to him, I was unaware that he did the artwork for Tongue Tied. It wasn't until afterwards that I realised that he had. But yeah, so if you obviously ever see him again, and you have a single of Tongue Tied, a copy of it somewhere, get it signed by him as well as Danny. Totally good advice. There.
Yeah, and also Howard Goodall as well, because he done all the Red Dwarf music, and he also composed this. The Rhino.
Yep.
Got more copy, look.
And Chris is currently holding his CD copy of Tongue Tied.
I don't know how much it cost us, to quite honest. I think it might have gone about the same. About £5 or £6. I think I got it for off eBay a long time ago.
Well, I've got a story about. I've got a story with Tongue Tied that takes me back to 98, on the way up to my first convention at the Adelphi Hotel in Liverpool. And we stopped off at Birmingham on the way, and we had about an hour's wait to the next train. And we went down New Street and popped into the Works. And then in the Works, they had a massive cardboard box of Tongue Tied videos that they were getting rid of for $1.99 each.
I went into the Works recently and I was looking for stuff like that, but I couldn't find anything. It's a bit gutted, but never mind.
It's just a stroke of luck that they were having to clear out their stock of Tongue Tied videos when we were on the way to our first Red Dwarf convention. So we bought 2 copies each, got one signed by Danny and just kept one for myself. In the end, my friend flogged his for about £50 because somebody, I think an American wanted the copy desperately, so he sold it to them. So yes, some interesting Tongue Tied stories there. If you've got any more Tongue Tied stories, do send them in.
I think my only story is doing that drag act.
What was that, Orie?
Oh yes.
When I did the drag act that was on the second podcast.
Yes. That's right. You did your own rendition of Tongue Tied.
Those trousers didn't end up red; they ended up pink.